안녕하세요. 오늘 서울 날씨 진짜 좋네요.
네, 정말 상쾌한 날씨예요.
이런 날씨엔 막 끝난 그 비트코인 서울 2025 생각나지 않으세요? 열기가 정말 대단했잖아요.
맞아요, 정말. 좋은 세션들도 진짜 많았고요.
그렇죠. 그래서 혹시 아쉽게 참석 못하셨거나 아니면 그 현장의 열기를 다시 한번 좀 느끼고 싶으신 당신을 위해서요.
네네.
저희가 아주 흥미로웠던 세션 하나를 오늘 좀 같이 자세히 들여다볼까 합니다.
그거 좋네요. 어떤 세션이었죠?
바로 그 더 블록체인 그룹, 더 블록체인 그룹이라고 알렉산드르 레제 부사장이 발표한 세션인데요. 제목이 유럽 기업의 비트코인 주도, 재무 전략의 새 지평 이거였어요.
저도 그거 기억나요. 굉장히 인상 깊었죠.
네, 이게 그냥 비트코인을 사서 모으는 걸 넘어서 뭐랄까 금융시장을 이용해서 비트코인을 채굴하는 듯한 그런 전략이라서요. 아주 독특하더라고요.
맞습니다. 오늘 당신과 함께 그 핵심 전략, 소위 말하는 기업 재무 2.0이 뭔지, 그리고 이게 시장이나 당신께 어떤 의미가 있을지 한번 깊이 얘기 나눠보면 좋겠네요.
좋습니다. 그럼 바로 시작해볼까요? 이 회사가 보니까 2024년 11월에 이 전략을 시작했다고 했죠?
네, 맞아요. 얼마 안 됐죠.
그런데 벌써 1,400개가 넘는 비트코인을 모았다고 발표했더라고요. 와, 이 속도 정말 빠른 거 아닌가요?
네, 속도도 속도지만 그 전략 자체가 더 흥미로워요. 기본 원칙은 사실 되게 간단해요.
어떤 건데요?
자본을 조달하고 그걸로 비트코인을 사고, 그리고 영원히 보유한다. 이거예요.
영원히? 와.
네. 근데 핵심은 그냥 총 보유량이 중요한 게 아니라는 거예요.
그럼 뭐가 중요한 거죠?
바로 주당 비트코인 보유량을 계속 늘리는 데 집중한다는 점입니다.
아하. 그러니까 단순히 비트코인을 막 많이 사는 게 중요한 게 아니라 회사 주식 한 주당 가지고 있는 비트코인의 가치를 계속 높인다 이런 거군요.
정확합니다. 그래야 기존 주주들 가치가 희석되지 않고 오히려 더 커진다고 보는 거죠. 비트코인 자체 가격 상승도 물론 좋지만 이 금융 전략을 통해서 그 이상의 가치를 주주에게 주겠다. 이런 목표인 셈이에요.
와, 그게 실제로 효과가 있었나요?
네, 발표 내용을 보면 지난 7개월 동안 비트코인이 한 40% 올랐을 때 이 회사 주가는 무려 2000% 넘게 올랐다고 하니까요.
2000%요? 진짜요?
네. 그러니까 시장에서는 일단 굉장히 긍정적으로 본 거죠. 2024년 12월에는 주당 41사토시 정도였는데 발표 시점인 2025년 6월 기준으로 거의 500사토시까지 그러니까 10배 이상 늘렸다고 하더라고요.
와, 정말 대단하네요. 그 전략을 가능하게 한 핵심 도구 중 하나가 세계 최초로 발행했다는 비트코인 표시 전환사채라고 들었어요. 이게 좀 생소한데 어떤 건가요?
네, 이게 아주 중요한 포인트인데요. 상당히 혁신적인 시도예요. 쉽게 말하면 나중에 비트코인으로 갚거나 또는 회사 주식으로 전환할 수 있는 옵션이 붙은 그런 특별한 회사채를 발행한 거예요.
비트코인으로 갚는 채권이라.
그렇죠. 만기는 5년이고요. 더 놀라운 건 이자율이 0%예요.
이자가 없다고요?
네, 대신 이제 특정 조건이 되면 주식으로 바꿔갈 수 있는 그런 프리미엄을 붙인 거죠. 이걸 통해서 기존의 어떤 법정화폐 부채랑은 다르게 더 많은 비트코인을 더 빨리 확보할 수 있는 길을 열었다. 이렇게 볼 수 있어요.
그 신용위험 부담 없이 비트코인 기반의 자금 조달을 한다. 이런 의미군요.
맞습니다. 그게 핵심이죠. 그리고 실제로 이 채권을 발행한 이후에 주가가 또 800% 이상 급등했다고 하니까 투자자들도 이 혁신적인 부분을 굉장히 높게 평가한 걸로 보입니다.
정말 대담하면서도 뭐랄까 굉장히 영리한 전략 같은데요.
네, 그렇죠.
심지어 목표도 엄청나던데요. 8년 안에 전체 비트코인 공급량의 1%를 확보하겠다. 이런 목표를 세웠다고요.
네, 아주 야심찬 목표죠. 현재 한 1,500BTC 이상 보유하고 있다고 하니까 이미 글로벌 상장사 중에서도 꽤 상위권에 들어갔다고 볼 수 있고요.
진짜 말씀하신 대로 단순히 시장에서 비트코인을 사는 게 아니라 주식시장의 프리미엄을 이용해서 회사의 순자산 가치, 그것도 비트코인 기준으로 높이는 거네요.
그렇죠. 앞서 말씀하신 그 금융시장을 통한 비트코인 채굴이라는 표현이 정말 딱 맞는 것 같아요.
그러게요.
그리고 이런 성과를 또 객관적으로 보여주기 위해서 주당 비트코인 보유량이 얼마나 늘었는지 이런 명확한 지표, KPI를 사용하고 있다는 점도 발표했고요. 마이크로 스트래티지가 먼저 길을 열었다면 이들은 또 그들만의 방식으로 이걸 발전시키고 있는 거죠.
자, 그럼 오늘 우리가 쭉 살펴본 이 이야기, 이게 우리한테 시사하는 바는 뭘까요? 제 생각에는 유럽의 한 상장사가 비트코인을 그냥 단순 보유자산, 이걸 넘어서서 아주 적극적인 금융 전략의 핵심으로 사용하고 있다는 거.
네, 맞아요.
그리고 그 결과로 비트코인 자체의 상승률보다 훨씬 더 높은 성과를 만들어내고 있다는 사실인 것 같아요. 개인적으로는 와, 이런 자본시장을 활용한 접근이 가능하구나 하는 게 좀 신선한 충격이었어요.
저도 정말 그 전략의 과감함, 그리고 실행 속도, 또 금융기법 자체의 혁신성에 굉장히 깊은 인상을 받았습니다. 여기서 한 가지 좀 흥미로운 질문을 던져볼 수도 있을 것 같아요.
어떤 질문이요?
만약에 더 많은 기업들이 이런 식으로 금융시장을 통해서 아주 효율적으로 비트코인을 막 축적하기 시작한다면 기존의 그런 에너지 많이 쓰는 채굴 방식이나 아니면 개인들이 직접 비트코인 투자하는 환경에는 과연 어떤 변화가 생길까요?
아, 그러네요. 생각해 볼 문제네요.
네. 그리고 또 이런 높은 수익률이 기대되는 전략 뒤에는 분명히 우리가 아직 보지 못한 어떤 위험 같은 것도 숨어 있을 수 있거든요. 당신께서도 한번 이런 부분들을 같이 고민해 보시면 정말 흥미로울 것 같습니다.
네. 오늘 저희가 함께 나눈 이 이야기가 당신의 지적인 호기심을 좀 채워드리고 또 비트코인과 금융의 미래를 생각해 보는데 작은 영감이 되었기를 바랍니다.
네, 그랬으면 좋겠습니다.
저희는 다음 시간에 더 재미있는 주제로 다시 찾아뵙겠습니다.
감사합니다.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here to unpack the complex stuff, boiling down insights from loads of sources just for you. And today we're doing something a bit special, a look back, really digging into Bitcoin Seoul 2025. So if you couldn't make it to Seoul, or maybe you were there but want a refresher on the absolute highlights, this is for you. Think of it as your shortcut. Our mission today, pull out the key stuff from one really standout presentation, give you the essentials.
Exactly. And looking back at these big events is always valuable. There was this one session at Bitcoin Seoul 2025, honestly, quite groundbreaking. We're focusing today on a talk by Alexandre Rees. He's the deputy head of the blockchain group. The title was Bitcoin Dominance in European Corporate Finance, A New Horizon in Financial Strategy. Catchy, right?
Right, and it dug into how some big European companies are starting to bring Bitcoin onto their balance sheets, looking at why they're doing it, the strategies behind it all. And the blockchain group, I mean, they're Europe's first Bitcoin Treasury company. That alone makes you sit up and listen. What makes their approach so interesting?
Yeah, let's set the scene a bit. Alexandre Rees and the blockchain group. They are, as you said, the first dedicated Bitcoin treasury company in Europe. And this isn't just talk. They've already stacked up over 1,400 Bitcoin since they started this. Plus, they're a public company, listed on Euronext Growth Paris, ticker ALTBG, since November 2024. So it's a serious public strategy.
Okay, Bitcoin Treasury company. It sounds specific. What's the actual playbook? What do they do?
Well, their playbook is surprisingly simple, almost radical, really. Step 1, raise capital. Step 2, accumulate Bitcoin. Step 3, and this is key, hold that Bitcoin forever. They're very clear. Don't lose it, don't sell it. The whole game is about increasing Bitcoin per share over time. It's pure long-term accumulation, not trading. And Alexandre Rees really hammered home the why, the bigger picture. I mean, Bitcoin's been the best performing asset, the last 15 years? It's behind the most successful ETF launch ever, the spot Bitcoin ETFs, obviously. And get this, it's apparently the only asset the U.S. government actually plans to accumulate, not just sell off. That's telling.
Okay, let's unpack that bit because the results, the numbers for companies doing this, these sound pretty wild. What kind of performance are we actually talking about? It sounds like more than just doing well.
Oh, it's way beyond doing well. Take the blockchain group themselves. We're talking like a 2,000 to 3,000% increase in their stock value.
Wow, and how long?
In just 6 or 7 months since they launched the strategy, it wasn't just good, it instantly made them the top performing stock in Europe and in France since they started this.
Yeah.
Market cap over 50 million euros now. It's redefining things. And it's not just them. Look at others playing this game. US companies. Some hit 3,000% over 5 years. Metaplanet, they're doing this in Japan. Asia saw something like 6,000, 7,000% in just over a year. The blockchain group specifically has already clocked over 1,000% Bitcoin return since early 2025. And maybe even crazier, they've outperformed Bitcoin itself by 16 times. 16 in 7 months.
Okay, hold on. 16 times Bitcoin. How does that even work? What's the sats per share thing mean practically?
Right.
How does that drive the return?
Right, the sats per share. That's the magic metric. Sats, the smallest unit of Bitcoin, 100 million per Bitcoin. So picture this. December 2024, they had about 41 sats for every share of their company. Fast forward to now, mid-2025, that number is around 500 sats per share. That jump is the 1097 Bitcoin return to date. It all comes down to increasing the amount of Bitcoin backing each share. Relentless focus.
Okay, so that leads to the big question.
Oh.
How? How do they accumulate so fast and outperform? It can't just be buying and sitting on it.
Yeah.
What's the engine room look like? The financial mechanics.
Exactly. You hit it. It's not passive. It's aggressive capital raising combined with some really smart financial innovation. They started relatively small, raised 3 million euros in December, bought their first 40 Bitcoin. But then they went to their General Assembly, got permission to raise up to 300 million euros, signaling, big ambitions. But the real kicker, they announced the world's first Bitcoin-denominated convertible bond.
Bitcoin-denominated bonds. How does that work?
Yeah, it's pretty clever. It was a 50 million euro issuance initially. That move boosted their stack right up to 620 Bitcoin. And these bonds are different. 0% coupon, no interest payments, a 30% premium over the 20-day average share price when it converts, 5-year term, issued out of Luxembourg. Basically, investors are betting on Bitcoin going up, right? And the blockchain group gets capital essentially interest-free to buy more Bitcoin. Super efficient.
So they're literally inventing new funding tools specifically for Bitcoin acquisition. What does that do to their balance sheet? The company's health? It sounds like a unique kind of financial engine.
It really is. Because this structure, it kind of eliminates the usual credit risk you'd have with debt backed by, say, Bitcoin itself. And crucially, it means they can theoretically issue these almost indefinitely to buy more Bitcoin. It's not capped the same way as typical fiat bonds might be, like limited to 20-30% of your existing Bitcoin value. This structure is scalable, and it's a huge reason their stock jumped over 800% since they started this bond program. And you see the effect directly on the returns. Q1 2025, Bitcoin holdings up 15 times, share count only doubled, result, 700% Bitcoin return.
Just incredible leverage there.
Exactly. Then Q2 2025, Bitcoin up 137%, share count up only 60%. That generated another 47% Bitcoin return. Add it all up, their Bitcoin stack is 36 times bigger now, puts them easily in the top 20, maybe top 25 public companies globally holding Bitcoin. And, while this Bitcoin strategy is the main story, now they do have an underlying operational business.
Oh, right. They're not just a holding company.
No, not purely. They do tech consulting, data analytics, AI, web development. It brought in about 15 million euros revenue last year, 1.3 million net income. They did restructure it pretty heavily back in December 2023, presumably to streamline things before this big Bitcoin pivot.
Interesting. So who's steering this ship? It feels like they're carving out a whole new asset class. How do the finance pros even value a Bitcoin treasury company? It's not like valuing a factory or something.
Good question. And yeah, the leadership is key. The chairman, Jean-François Decaze, used to run a big asset management firm. There's a parade member, Ludovic Chachalaurent, co-founder of Capital Union Bank in the Bahamas. They manage something like 40 billion plus. The CEO, Jean-Philippe Caza de Patsuli, was a founder of one of their original operating bits, so finance and operational experience. And you asked about valuation. That's where their strategic investors are really interesting. Tobam, for example.
Tobam, the French asset manager.
That's them. Over 2 billion AUM, assets under management. They've been into Bitcoin since, 2017. They're investors in the blockchain group and actually published research on how to value these companies. Tobam looks at 3 things. 1, the Bitcoin return, how much BTC per share growth. 2, Bitcoin exposure, how much the balance sheet is Bitcoin. And 3, the Bitcoin premium. That's the gap between the market cap and the actual value of the Bitcoin they hold, the net asset value, or NAV.
Right. The premium people pay for the stock over the raw Bitcoin value.
Exactly. And the genius part is how they use that premium. They sell new shares at that premium price. Then they take that cash and buy more Bitcoin, which increases the NAV per share for everyone. They're converting market optimism directly into more underlying assets, and the blockchain group seems pretty good at it. They convert that premium in about 4 or 5 months. Others might take 6 months, even up to 16 months. They're efficient. And they're not thinking small. The plan: acquire 1% of all Bitcoin by 2033.
1% of the total supply.
Yep. Roughly 210,000 Bitcoin. It's audacious. But think about it. If Bitcoin goes to, say, 1 or 2 million euros per coin eventually, that strategy alone could mean a market cap of 200 to 400 billion euros, just based on the Bitcoin NAV. That could potentially make them the most valuable listed company in Europe.
Wow. That really reframes things. It's like they're finding a way to securitize Bitcoin accumulation itself, making it accessible on public markets in a new way.
Okay, so let's wrap this deep dive into Bitcoin Seoul 2025. The big takeaway seems to be how companies like the blockchain group in Europe are really shaking up corporate finance, using aggressive Bitcoin buying, these really innovative funding methods like the BTC bonds, and just achieving returns that are frankly incredible. It changes how you think about treasuries.
Absolutely. And it shows that this focus, this laser focus on boosting Bitcoin per share, it doesn't just beat traditional assets. It can beat the Magnificent Seven stocks, can even beat Bitcoin itself. It really marks these Bitcoin treasury companies out as a potentially powerful, distinct asset class, offering something genuinely different to investors. Yeah, for me, what really stands out from digging into this is just the sheer boldness and effectiveness of that Bitcoin treasury company model. It's not just, oh, we bought some Bitcoin. It's a relentless strategic machine designed to accumulate more Bitcoin for shareholders. And I mean, the numbers, they just speak for themselves, don't they? It feels like a new playbook entirely.
And I think for me, the really fascinating angle is the financial innovation. Those Bitcoin-denominated bonds, that's a big deal. It shows how traditional finance tools are being adapted, twisted, evolved for this new asset, creating whole new pathways for companies to get Bitcoin exposure and leverage. And it makes you wonder, right, are we going to see more companies, maybe even companies totally outside the crypto world, start looking at playbooks like this in the next few years?
That's the big question, isn't it? Given the performance, the ambition, are we actually watching the blueprint for the next evolution of corporate finance being drawn up right now? Where Bitcoin isn't just an asset, but maybe the central engine driving value. Lots to think about there. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and we'll catch you on the next one.